A dangerous and deeply consequential shift is quietly unfolding between Italy and Germany. For decades, everyone understood one simple rule of Europe. The engine that powered the continent was the Franco-German alliance. A relationship once described by a former French president as Germany is the horse, France is the rider. But today, that horse has decided to change riders. Or more precisely, to look for a partner who understands it better. A partner closer in vision, interests, and economic reality. We are standing in front of a historic moment. Berlin has effectively left Macron drowning in France's internal crises and turned instead toward Giorgia Meloni, signing a joint action plan that threatens to rewrite the balance of power inside Brussels. So the real question is this: why did Germany decide to walk away from Macron now? What exactly is in this German-Italian plan? And are we witnessing the birth of a new European power axis designed to save European industry from collapse? Or is this just a tactical maneuver hiding deeper ambitions? To understand where this game is heading, we first need to look at the fracture inside Europe's big house, the Franco-German break. The relationship between France and Germany has been deteriorating for some time. This wasn't a simple disagreement of opinions, it became a direct clash of political and economic interests. When Germany's new chancellor took office last year, many expected relations to stabilize. Instead, the opposite happened. The gap between Berlin and President Emmanuel Macron widened dramatically, spreading across every sensitive file. From relations with Trump and foreign policy, to international trade agreements that are the lifeblood of the German economy. This is where the first real flashpoint emerged, the long-stalled EU-Mercosur free trade agreement with South America. Germany, Europe's industrial powerhouse, has been desperate to finalize this deal for over 25 years. For Berlin, it represents a massive market for machinery, cars, and industrial exports at a time when German industry is already under pressure. Macron, however, positioned himself as the deal's main obstacle, arguing that it would hurt French farmers. And that's where the confrontation truly began. In Berlin, France stopped being seen as a partner and started to look like an obstacle. From economic disputes to military deadlock, the conflict didn't stop at trade. It spilled into one of Europe's most sensitive projects, the joint Franco-German fighter jet program. Launched in 2017, today, that project is effectively paralyzed. This was never just about an aircraft. It was about who would control Europe's military technology for the next 50 years. France, backed by its Rafale experience, wanted to lead design and execution. Germany refused to be reduced to a silent financier, demanding access to core technologies and decision-making power. The result? Billions spent, zero progress, and growing mistrust on both sides. For Berlin, the conclusion became unavoidable. Betting on Paris to build a unified European defense was a losing bet. So Germany changed direction toward Rome. Why Italy? Why now? Instead of confrontation, Berlin chose industrial pragmatism. A partner focused on moving the machine forward, not blocking it. On Trump, the contrast was clear. When Trump escalated threats over tariffs and geopolitics, Macron pushed for direct confrontation, arguing Europe should retaliate aggressively. Germany refused. Its economy depends heavily on exports to the United States. Berlin was not willing to burn its economy to satisfy Macron's political pride. Enter Giorgia Meloni. Like Germany, she favors stability over spectacle, negotiation over collision, and economic realism over ideological battles. When Merz and Meloni met in Rome and signed their German-Italian action plan, this was not symbolic diplomacy. Meloni said it openly. Italy and Germany are closer today than ever before. And this alliance is not happening in a vacuum. The industrial axis, we're talking about Europe's two largest manufacturing powers. Their supply chains are deeply interconnected. A shock to one hurts the other immediately. Both governments see Brussels' expanding bureaucracy and rigid environmental regulations as handcuffs on European industry, especially when competing with China and the United States. Their message is blunt. Enough polished regulations that look good on paper, but destroy economic logic in reality. The joint plan calls for faster approvals for major investments, fewer administrative burdens, a competitiveness-first mindset. They are not against green transition, they are against ideological transition that kills industry. That's why they reject the EU's 2035 ban on gasoline and diesel cars, seeing it as a gift to China and a direct attack on Europe's automotive backbone. Meloni said it clearly. Europe's ideological green agenda has crippled its industries while serving Chinese interests. A direct blow to France. The clearest proof this alliance is real came with Mercosur. For years, France used its political weight to block the deal. Italy has now switched sides, openly backing Germany. That shift tipped the balance inside the EU Council. The agreement moved forward. The message to Paris was unmistakable. France can no longer block Europe on its own. Even on Trump in the US, Germany and Italy are aligned. America remains indispensable. And a full rupture with Washington would be economically catastrophic. Is Rome the new Paris? Italy, long labeled Europe's problem child, is now sitting across from Germany as an equal. Not as a country seeking bailouts, but as an industrial power facing the same challenges. Meloni has successfully moved Italy from the category of debt crises to the category of alliance builder. That gives Rome real political weight in Brussels, especially as French influence weakens under Macron's domestic turmoil. In politics, there are no permanent friendships, only permanent interests. And today, Germany's interests align with those who produce, export, and compete. What happens next? The real test will come at the Belgium summit on February 12th, focused on European competitiveness ahead of major EU meetings in March and June. There, we'll see whether the German-Italian axis can impose its economic agenda, or whether France still has cards left to slow this new machine. What's happening is not a temporary alignment. It's a signal that Europe's economic rules are changing, and that industry may finally return to center stage after years of constraints. So the real question is yours. Can this German-Italian alliance truly last and dominate? Or will France find a way to reclaim the steering wheel? And where do you think Europe's true interest lies in the next phase? Share your thoughts in the comments. The story ends here, but the game is far from over. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay with us for the first chapter of every news story. Goodbye.